Hello, friends. Welcome to My Left Ear. This is Carrie Freeman. I'm the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear. And once in a while, when we're lucky, PETEY shows up. I don't know if you can see him. Oh, there he is. So he'll maybe go to sleep or he'll get off, but I love it if he comes up here and says hello. So hi, PETEY, and thanks for joining us. Back to the show. All right. My Left Ear is a left-leaning political and psychic commentary YouTube show where I also consult the ancient runes, and I use my left ear, which is very psychic and intuitive, to make observations and comments. So thank you for being here. When I'm not here, I'm an author. I'm working on a third book right now, and I call myself a change agent because I get together with clients individually and I work with psychic coaching and hypnotherapy and other tools that I have, teaching tools. So you can contact me. Information is below. And what I do here is, because there's always a lot of news going on right now. I love Pete's taking a nap. I take this big news and I sort of disseminate it for our purposes, because it's all day long, every day, and I'm making a contribution, but I'm not Nicole Wallace, so I'm consolidating. And also, I like to say this is for entertainment purposes only, and it would be fantastic and helpful to me if you subscribed and hit like. All right, here we go. If you've never been here before, I talk about something called good evidence. And that's anything that's positive that lights us up, and that's what this third book is about. So most everybody knows what the good evidence is. And by the way, I just want to say the responses I'm getting from you and the notes, which I really like, people are really starting to say that was good evidence and that was good evidence. And so it's becoming a part of, I don't know, your observations, your dialogue, and that makes me very happy. Just wanted to mention. It means you really understand the concept of good evidence. All right, so we're going to start with some political good evidence. That Tennessee's House Representative Justin Jones, who was expelled for caring about the children and the adults that were killed in the school shooting. So these really nasty and racist supermajority in the House, GOP, expelled, well, they brought up 3 on charges, 2 black men and a woman, Gloria Johnson. And Gloria did not get expelled, but they were voting on it, and she did not get expelled by 1 vote. But the 2 black gentlemen got expelled. So Justin Jones got voted back in, I think by the city council in his district. Nothing those racist guys can do. So he's back, and he made quite an entrance in the Tennessee House today. So now there's an upcoming vote for Rep. Justin Pearson, who I guess is in another county, and let's just keep our fingers crossed for Justin Pearson. I'm leaning towards him being admitted back into the House also. So all these 3 people who were doing wonderful things in regard to the school shooting, and it just shows us how really backward and horrible Tennessee is. Oh my heavens. So it's really positive that Justin is back. And it's so funny with the GOP generally, my feeling is they're not very bright. They don't have a sense of thinking 1 step ahead, or how are they creating a future. So what they did was they especially made Justin Jones and Justin Pearson superstars with a bigger visibility and a bigger voice. And that's what these racist GOP did. Kind of hit him in the face, didn't it? So there's some noise next door, and I hope it doesn't get in the way of this little broadcast. People moved out, and they're banging and doing all kinds of redecorating and stuff. All right, the second piece of political good evidence is that as of today, Trump's favorability has sunk to 25%, especially among undecided voters. So when more indictments drop, and we know they will, his numbers will sink even lower. And the only people that are going to stick by him are the cultists. The rabid base will remain because they have no perspective on him. They don't even like facts. So there will be like this little base that's just going to stick. But he's going to lose all these undecided, and wait until that second indictment drops. All right. Now, this is brand new today. In fact, I took a break. I went on Twitter, and I went, oh, my God. So here it is. And you may know about it already. The Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, is suing Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio. Jim Jordan, who is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. And this lawsuit is an extraordinary step intended to keep congressional Republicans from interfering in the office's criminal case against former President Donald J. Trump, now defendant Trump. So it's a 50-page suit. It dropped today. I guess Jordan was informed yesterday. Filed in federal court in the Southern District, accuses Mr. Jordan of a brazen, this is quote, a brazen and unconstitutional attack on the prosecution of Mr. Trump and a transparent campaign to intimidate and attack the district attorney, Alvin Bragg. Now, lawyers for Alvin Bragg are seeking to bar Mr. Jordan, who's not a member of the bar, by the way, but bar Mr. Jordan and his congressional allies from enforcing a subpoena sent to Mark Pomerantz, a brilliant attorney who was once a leader at the district attorney's office on the Trump investigation, and who left not happy, and he later wrote a book. And the interesting thing about Pomerantz is that he's 110% sure of Trump's guilt. So even if this interview with Pomerantz occurred, I don't think they're going to get what they want. I think it's going to maybe kick mud in Jim Jordan's face. Really a stupid thing. And also because Jordan was going to be traveling to New York to question Pomerantz and make a circus. Create a circus. There's no reason for him to go to New York. So that's happening. And Bragg is really pushing back. He's mad. I would be too if I was him. All right, we're moving on now. And we're moving on to the war on women right now, which is utterly tragic, utterly infuriating, and completely wrong. I'm so passionate about this. But you may have heard Idaho Governor, GOP, Brad Little, and he is a little man, wants to regulate women and girls, women over 18 and females under 18, leaving the state to receive abortion services. And he wants to arrest any doctor in another state who helps these women who have traveled. Now, adjacent to Idaho is Washington State. So Democratic Governor Jay Ainsley wrote him a sharp letter, really pushed back. Petey's sleeping on the letter. All right, I couldn't blow it up here, so I had to print it out. So I just want to share the first couple of sentences. Dear Governor Little, this is from Democratic Governor of Washington Ainsley. I write this letter to urge your veto of engrossed House bill, blah, 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 a bill that will most certainly have many unacceptable consequences that cannot be cured. It's a pretty long letter. I'm skipping. I question the constitutionality of this law, and I know you are aware of the costly legal challenges that await should you choose to sign this bill. But as the governor of a neighboring state, I am also deeply concerned about the impact that this bill will have on Washington residents traveling to and from Idaho. I fear that our residents, in particular the women and girls of Washington, will be in grave danger if they travel to your state. So that goes on, but let me just finish. Regardless of your decision on this bill, we welcome Idaho's patients and healthcare providers with open arms in Washington, yes. And as we did during COVID, we will care for the residents in a manner consistent with their healthcare needs as determined by trained medical professionals, not politicians. So Jay Inslee, I thought it was Ainsley, but it's Inslee, is fabulous. I just wanted to share that with you. And we continue on with this war on women. It's pretty horrible. So now we're going to move on to this nutcase. District Judge Matthew Kaczmarek. So here's what I've written. Radical, right-wing extremist with an agenda. Texas U.S. District Judge Matthew Kaczmarek ruled that the Food and Drug Administration's approval of, here we go with my pronunciations again, mifepristone should be put on hold more than 20 years after the agency first authorized the drug. He stayed his own order for a generous 7 days, ridiculous, to give the federal government time to appeal. So at nearly the same time in Spokane, Washington, U.S. District Judge Thomas O. Rice ruled that federal officials cannot hinder access to mifepristone in at least 70 of the states where Democratic attorney generals had sued to maintain availability. So this deadlock grid is likely to be settled in the Supreme Court, where the Democrats don't have the majority, but there's still a possibility. And I didn't do a rune on this yet. And we'll see what the Supreme Court does. Well, actually, I did. I'm sorry. I did do a rune on mifepristone. I have to practice that, guys. All right. So I asked the runes, what's the ultimate outcome of this issue? What is the future of reproductive health? I just kind of laid it out there generally. I didn't get the clear answer, but I got harvest, which always indicates 1 year. It is a rune of beneficial outcomes, but has no quick results. And this is going to be a huge fight. By the way, the DOJ also has gotten involved. Merrick Garland has also got involved with this issue of the pill, the abortion pill. So this rune does offer encouragement. It says to those whose labor has a long season, which are the people that are fighting, and a long coming to term. This rune offers encouragement, but we must be patient. The second rune I pulled was the rune of strength. So this is interesting because strength is the rune of terminations and new beginnings. And I wrote in here, does that mean new players, new members of the GOP? Or maybe they're now Democrats that get voted in, because some of these people are going to leave. And I'll explain that in a bit. It says, the life you have been living has outgrown its form. That form must die so that new energy can be released. This is about the fight. Positive growth and change, however, may involve a descent into darkness as part of the cycle of renewal. And it cautions, prepare for opportunity disguised as loss. So this indicates a horrible, ugly fight that's going to be drawn out. And the third rune I got was the rune of flow in the reversed position. And it says there is a counsel against overreach and excessive striving. A warning against trying to exceed your own strength or operate beyond the power you have funded to date. And I am interpreting that as that there's a majority in the House. And there are a lot of GOP governors. And so this is going to be a big one with this pill. I'm not looking at the name of it right now, so I can't pronounce it unless I look at the name of it. Mifepristone. I'm sorry about that. I've got it spelled right in front of you. Mifepristone. I could never be a pharmacist, I promise you that. So we need to put on our seatbelts because this is a mess. And by the way, this Texas judge, Matthew Kaczmarek, who appears fairly young, fairly youthful, but he does look like a Nazi. You know, he's got the Aryan look. But I heard some things about him. First of all, he's been involved with the Federalist Society. He's been against abortion. When he speaks of abortion, he doesn't use the word. He calls it killing human beings. He's very out of line, but he's very, what's the word? He's a radical. And I heard things about him that he's tired of our society being sexualized, and he has issues with sex, and we need to tap it down. And so he is beyond conservative. And he, you know, I'm just going to say this, he must be a laugh riot in the sack, right? Okay, had to say that. So the deadlock on this is likely to be settled in the Supreme Court. And then my feeling in my left ear is that when the Democrats win big in 24, that's when we can kind of really get to work. And that's 1 year or so. All right. So there we go with a very depressing story. So then I wanted to ask about gag orders regarding Trump's violent and menacing speeches and personal attacks on judges, family members, all of this kind of thing, becoming more threatening. And first I started with the New York hush money case with Judge Juan Merchan. He gave a warning at the arraignment, which I thought was appropriate, rather than jump right to, I'm putting a gag order on you. Feels reasonable. He gave him a warning. And he asked the president, do you understand? The president said, yes. And he understood. But he went out that night and made an insane speech at Mar-a-Lago. So I wanted to know about where Judge Merchan in New York and Fani Willis stand on this thing about shutting Trump down. Now, I don't know if you can hear the pounding. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to talk really clear so you don't have a problem. All right, so Fani Willis basically has said that she will have no hesitation in delivering consequences for Trump's hate speech or targeting her or her family or her staff. She's like tough, smart lady. So I asked the runes, will New York Judge Merchan issue legal consequences, i.e. a gag order, or something like that. He could issue fines, like $1,000 a day or whatever he wants to do 45. I wrote yes. My left ear just wrote yes. So we got fertility, which is new beginnings, and it's a rune of great power. That's the judge. It means you have the strength for completion. He does. That's really simple, so I didn't go any further than that. And then I got harvest again, and that's another 1 year. Now that I don't completely understand, because I think the New York trial is October, but maybe in a year it all gets settled. But the harvest rune is a rune of beneficial outcomes, but no quick results, all right? But it does say, to those whose labor has a long season, a long coming to term, this rune offers encouragement, but we have to be patient. Then I got the warrior, which I don't get very often. And it tells us, embodied in this rune is the energy of discrimination, like a sword. The sword-like quality enables the judge to cut away the old, the dead, and the extraneous. So at some point, I think PETEY's changing his, oh good, he's changing position. Now you can even see him better. Say hi, sweetie, sweetie PETEY. Embodied in this rune is the energy of discrimination. All right, so then I went on to Fani. I'm very sure about Fani, but I wanted to see what the runes would say. Will Fani Willis issue a legal gag order of sorts, which can be all kinds of orders. It could put him in jail, it could shut down his speech, they could fine him. We'd have to see, but I'm calling it a gag order. And I wrote, again, a big yes, because I got journey reversed. And it puts Trump on notice to be particularly attentive to personal relationships, like he is, right? Ruptures are likely. Requirements for your growth, that would be Trump, may totally disrupt what you intended. Desired outcomes may elude you, Donald Trump. And that would be with Fani. And you know, it's possible. Well, I'm going to get into this because my next rune question was, is the next indictment within 3 weeks? I gave it a time frame and I got likely. So if that happens, then you've got 2 indictments, and it's hard to say which indictment will give him a gag order first. But I think both of them will, but definitely Fani Willis. She don't care. All right. When is the next? Is the next indictment within 3 weeks? Likely. And I got signals, be especially aware during meetings, visits, particularly with persons wiser than you, and that would be Fani Willis. It tells Trump, expect the unexpected. It's a call to a new life, and that would not be a good new life. I got the rune Stand Still, which is the spookiest rune in the pack, and it always says, the winter of your spiritual life, Donald, is upon you. Positive accomplishment is unlikely now, Donald. There is a freeze on your useful activity. And then Gateway indicates that there is work to be done both inside and out. You are being confronted with a clear reflection of what is hidden in yourself that must be exposed and examined, and it will, and it is right now. And the last rune, will Jack Smith indict GOP governors, senators, and House members on seditious conspiracy in the second half of 23? So I got the rune of Flow, and it says unseen powers are active here. It speaks to satisfaction of emotional needs, and that would be ours. It is time for a cleansing, and that is very specific. It's the cleansing of these seditious conspirators. The cleansing. And then I got constraint, And it's saying to them, learn to deal with severe constraints, GOP. This rune represents the obstacles we create for ourselves. And they certainly are. It says your growth has been stunted, resulting in weakness. And troubles, denials, setbacks are your teachers and your guides. Then I got constraint in the reversed position. A cycle of initiation. This rune is the teacher disguised as the bringer of pain and limitation. Their pain, their limitation. They're going to be in shock. Something within them becomes disowned and wreaks havoc. And you know, you'd have to split off from yourself to support someone like Donald Trump, a criminal like Donald Trump, an evil person like Donald. So they're all terribly compromised and split off from themselves. Now we're getting to the little tidbits, just things I wanted to add at the end here. Ron DeSantis is not doing well. He's kind of sinking, and he's wasting all his time trying to destroy Disney, which brings in massive amounts of revenue to Florida. And it's because he's a revengeful, thin-skinned weenie. And he's receiving a lot of bad press. And I'm just going to say what I've said before. DeSantis is going to look horrible on the world stage, should he choose to run. And he's not sure. He's a little afraid because he's kind of a fearful guy. That's why he wants his own army, and he wants protection, and doesn't like to be asked direct questions. He's a very weak guy, but he's very destructive and nasty. All right. About Pence testifying in the January 6th indictments, insurrection. Trump is continuing to fight it, even though Pence has agreed to do it, but it will not work. Pence will testify. So the fact that Donald is fighting it so much, Pence must have some wild information that we probably haven't even heard yet. And then I just want to share this with you. What I shared with you a few days ago about these two new prosecutors who are very experienced and brought in to totally investigate the governors, senators, and House members that may have committed seditious conspiracy. We call them the insurrectionists. Someone just informed me that they were hired a long time ago, not recently. None of the things I read indicated that. I don't think it's well known. So, and I don't understand, because I feel that the presence of these two prosecutors looking at the House, the Senate, and GOP governors in terms of overturning the election, how could that be kept so under wraps? It's actually just huge. We'll find out. We'll find out. I would imagine the usual suspects are quietly shaking in their boots. That's what I suspect. But at least they're there. We know what they look like. We know what their names are, and they're working on it. It's no small task to go to find all the various Paul Gosars, Marjorie Taylor Greens, all these insurrectionists, you know, that are acting innocent, and they're not. Oh, that was a load today, wasn't it? So I found this quote by Maya Angelou. I had never heard it before, and maybe you haven't either, but it feels really good right now for our democratic state of mind and our fight for rights, for women, for minorities. It goes on and on. But here's what she said, God bless her. She said, "You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll arise." Fierce woman, Maya Angelou, wise woman, Maya Angelou. So let's just hold on to the idea that we will rise. I'm coming back with another Patreon. I'm going to do some good evidence on the Patreon and share a few other things because I'm adding some really cool things to the book that I'm excited about. It's just a lot richer than the digital that I put out a few years ago, and I'm really stoked about it. So I'm just going to bring some new material and share it with you on the next Patreon, which will be in the next 2 days. Okay. So here we go. I have a meeting, and PETEY has a little dinner soon. Isn't that cool that he just joined us today? Very sleepy. He's very mellow. Hey, Pete, can you just look up and say goodbye to everybody? There he is. Beautiful PETEY. Anyway, keep the faith. Make peace. Make good memories. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.